Hello everyone, my name is Mad Scorpion, and unfortunately I'm making this video because I fell for an April Fool's prank. I kind of forgot it was that. I saw a post saying that this week's TWAB they would be releasing a thing on darkness subclasses, or at least new subclasses, but I kind of fell for that. But basically I'm just going to do what I've been doing before and go through the important basis. I'm not going to do it word for word, I'm basically going to tell what's important. So they start off with a section titled Gear Up, and it's basically covering how Ada-1 will influence the season in terms of vendor status. Basically, she'll be introducing the transmog, but she'll also be Banshee's antithesis. I don't know if that's the right word there, but she'll be the armor provider. There will be a new thing where she will sell a random new mods. I forget if it's weekly or daily. But let's just randomly choose an armor mod each day. It actually will be daily. And one randomly chosen combat style mod, basically one will be a general mod, and then one will also be a charge with light / warmind cell mod. Then basically that's to help provide for those people who missed out on year 3 seasons, and people can develop beyond that. In addition to that, there will be a random armor set from the Whirlpool that will be on a weekly rotation with a random stat roll, and she'll also be selling upgrade modules, enhancement prisms, attendant shards. Basically, she'll take everything from Banshee that is to do with armoring. And at the same time, Banshee will lose the ability to sell those armor mods. He will lose, I believe, also the materials, but he'll also get a selection of 6 weapons, 2 kinetic, 2 energy, and 2 power weapons that he will be selling on a weekly basis. That'll be weekly provided rolls. So basically they're giving us some ways to just chase down random armor that doesn't require playing. Now they also have a thing covering Bottomless Grief and Celerity, where people were apparently requested that those be intrinsic for Nightfall Adepts and Trials Adepts. But basically they go over the fact that it would be too broken to be intrinsic, and while they loved the idea of doing it, it would enhance pyro creep, and while they would love to actually go for that, they can't do it intrinsically. But for a, how do I say this, but to adjust it next season, they will be intrinsic, but it will replace a perk. So I'm going to read this. Basically, Bottomless Grief on Nightfall Adepts would get a permanently active plus 32 magazine, so it seems like it's actually extending our mags, in addition to being a fixed alternate perk for the left column. So, actually, just as an example, my Adept Shadow Price is a surplus, not Dragonfly, Unrelenting. I would be able to swap out surplus for Bottomless Grief, and on a Trials weapon, as an example, instead of Outlaw Rampage with my Igneous Hammer, it would be Outlaw Celerity. So, and a Trials weapon Celerity would also grant a permanently active plus 20 to reloading and handling, basically just how you move your weapon. But there are going to be more, they also say that there's going to be more perks that are specific to modes like that, like how Reconstruction only drops from Crypt, how Trials weapons are the only things that get Celerity, and other things like that. Now, going on, they also describe how they are doing a deep dive with Presage, and they also detailed some basic issues across, and they cover the basis for what expansions need to be owned to access specific strikes. And unfortunately, I provided some false information about this too, but going from start to bottom, the free to all players don't need any expansions to play. We have the Arms Dealer, Devil's Lair, Disgraced, Exodus Crash, Fallen Saber, Inverted Spire, Insight Terminus, and Lake of Shadows. If you are a new light, never put a cent in the game, those are the strikes you can play. But if you want to do either Broodhold, Corrupted, Hollowed Lair, or Warden of Nothing, 4 strikes that came around with Forsaken, then you will actually need to own Forsaken to do those. In addition, Scarlet Keep, the only strike that came out to us in Shadowkeep, and same thing with Glassway and Proving Grounds. You require Beyond Light to play those, but let me emphasize, you do not require the season to play Proving Grounds. If you have Beyond Light, then you can play Proving Grounds. But aside from that, with that distinction, they also mentioned that the Guardian Games Ghost Shell, if you notice that your Guardian Games Ghost Shell, it disappeared from your inventory, That was a Bungie doing. They didn't just delete. But if you had a Masterwork one, you should find one on a Postmaster on one of your characters. Not exactly sure which one. I found all three on my Titan, even though they were each on each of my characters. But if you are missing a shell from your inventory, don't bother spawning a new one. They should have given you a new one. Hopefully. And they also made adjustments to the flawless dungeon triumphs, where instead of being, if you didn't die during a dungeon, you got a flawless air quotes triumph. Now they actually made it so that everyone needs to survive without dying. But also a reminder for cross save. Basically, prior to altering cross save setup, players to keep in mind that cross save does not permanently transfer characters or account data between platforms. In order to access your cross save characters on a different platform, then they originate cross save must remain active. So, well known things. So, some weekly known issues that they're covering. Players can continuously respawn in the electric wall and presage and become trapped. That is unfortunate. Players can be stuck under the moving platforms and proving grounds. Moving platforms. Huh. The Acadian Cord Wanted bounty is no longer available from Spider for some reason. Zaris, Greed of Zevo Rock, is incorrectly displaying as Fallen Walker. I do not remember what that was. And also, players using Wish Ender may not be able to see through walls when standing in a Warlock Rift. Those are recent issues that came up. So, of course, then they covered various movies of the week, and after that, it is the end. I unfortunately got April Fool's, like I said. I saw a thing that was this week's TWAB was going to be revealing new subclasses, so I guess I got. That was the only got that I'm accepting for now. But in the end, there is a link that leads to an imgur, or however to say that, in the TWAB, in the comma. I opened it, I didn't get anything. I expect to be rickrolled, but to describe, it says, "We don't got no April Fool's joke for you. It's a fairly light TWAB this week anyway, so padding out with some fake story about how Master Rule is getting his own record deal didn't feel right. Okay, now that I decided, it actually sounds hilarious. Sorry we didn't think of it sooner. Have fun hunting your own personal palindrome random roll this week." From Cosmo. So, like he did say, light TWAB, not very long. Some important pointers. It's nice to hear that we'll actually be getting a vendor that's more armor-based, just because of the fact that that is now what kind of dictates how well you do in some endgame things. If you don't have a good build set up, then you're not going to do much else, because just guns won't get you all the way. But aside from that, my name is Mad Scorpion. Happy April Fools, and I will see you in the next video.